All right, good morning, everyone. Let's lighten things up a little bit. So welcome to the Future Innovators Roundtable. So my name is Charlie Thompson. If I didn't get a chance to meet you yesterday, I am a general pediatrician. I'm the global lead for Pfizer's Pediatric Center of Excellence, and I'm also the founder and chair of the International Children's Advisory Network, ICANN, which has been exhibiting out near the registration desk.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Naomi Freed. I am co-moderating this panel with Charlie. I'm the former Chief Innovation Officer at Boston Children's Hospital. And it's a pleasure to be here. We have a fabulous panel today. I think when we think about pediatrics, we always are used to thinking about kids as our patients. But I think we saw last night, and we all should begin thinking about the fact that the younger generation is much more than just patients. They're innovators. They are solving some amazing problems. They are bringing the energy of youth, their passion, their curiosity, their fearlessness in tackling things. They're not afraid to take risks and try new ideas. And they're coming up with some really bold, wonderful solutions for us.
And I have to say, I have my good friend Kaylee next to me because I have to keep a close eye on her. Her mom is in the front row keeping a close eye, too. But it is a true honor to be with such an inspiring group of young people. As Naomi mentioned, you saw some of them last night at the Innovation Beach. What an incredible job they did up on the stage. No fear, lots of confidence, great ideas, true innovators. And in some ways, the title here, not to bang Anthony or anything, but it's a bit of a misnomer. They're not future innovators, they're actually innovating now. So they could have been in the previous panel, which was the current innovators. And actually, one of you who was just leaving a previous panel mentioned to me, oh, why couldn't I be on the cool panel? So hopefully you guys are going to get a lot out of it. It's going to be a fun session. We're going to let them talk. So Naomi and I are almost done. We're going to give you the ground rules, and we're going to let them talk for the rest of the time.
So this is going to be a fun session, but it's also going to be very fast. We have, as you can see, an abundance of riches. We want to hear from 9 young innovators today. That's going to be challenging in the 20 minutes we have allocated to us. So we are proposing a blitz round.
So what we're going to do is just ask you to introduce yourselves. That should be easy. Shouldn't be any mistakes there. So what's your name? How old are you? Maybe where you're from. And then you can ponder a couple questions. You do not have to answer all of these. This is your chance to shine, so relax. You got 300 plus people listening to you, so you can say anything you want within reason. So what we want you to do is to talk about sort of what it is that inspires you. So you're all innovators in some way in your own lives. What inspires you to do that? What inspires you about the future? What advice could you give to other folks who are thinking about being innovators? There's some other young people here as well. What advice can you give them? And along those same lines, are there things that you've learned along the way? Maybe mistakes you've made, maybe things that you've done that have really made a difference. So what's your inspiration? What have you learned? And what advice? All right, so we'll start with my little friend Kaylee.
Hi, my name is Kaylee. I'm 10 years old and I go to Winston Elementary and I live in Atlanta. What inspired me to be an ICANN is because I want to help children and families so the child won't feel alone. And what was the other questions?
So advice for people, lessons learned?
Well, for advice, not everything the first time is going to work, and it's okay. And advice is that you should always try and never give up.
First off, I want to say thank you to the PEDS 2040 staff for having me up here. My name is Hillary, and I am currently, I was previously an intern under Dr. Chang's MI3 internship this past summer, and I really just learned a lot about the relationship between doctor and patient. You know, I believe that as we are patients currently, we are also trying to eliminate that long bridge, I would say, that gap between doctor and patient. And I think it really starts with democracy in medicine, you know, straying away from the paternalistic views that are currently being used and just having more patient advocacy. I think that's where it really starts, and I think that's one of my inspirations.
So hi, my name is Sam Ferguson. I'm in the 11th grade and I live in San Diego, California. You know, I think as we look at my innovation and I think as we look at my inspiration, I think a lot of it comes from the fact that I'm not necessarily an adult, and the fact is that I don't see all those limitations, that come with being as an adult as far as even hardware and software. It kind of opens up a realm of opportunities. The other thing is that I've been doing the science fair since I was in 7th grade. So I think seeing in all this collaboration of all those ideas, it kind of gives us a sense of how to come together and work together in order to create some of the best new innovative ideas.
Hi, my name is Reese Omer, and I'm 14 years old, and I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I'm really here for 2 reasons. The first one being that I really want to help others, and the joy that comes to their face when I improve their life positively is something that really drives me forward. And the second one is I want to be an endocrinologist when I get older, and this is a great way to get there because people are so positive and they're really giving a strong outlook for kids. So.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Saeed. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Before I give my advice, I want to thank the PD 2040 and Dr. Chang for having me here, for giving me the opportunity, and also to my very close mentor, Donald Lombardi, and the IPI team, because without them, I wouldn't be on this stage or have a company. Now, talking about opportunity, it's all about that. The advice for adults is to give the young people the opportunity, whether that is to give them the courage to move on with their invention or support them in any way. And the advice for young inventor is to be open-minded. As a person myself, when I first started it, I thought I knew everything. And my mom started calling me Mr. Know-It-All. But later on, as I work with Don and he mentoring me, it's really important for young people. It's your idea, it's your invention, it's your child, but it's really important to get feedback and incorporate that feedback into your invention, because you will have the invention, but that will make it 10 times better than it is. I have with the help of Mr. Lombardi, I have a team now that will help me to take my invention to the next level. So be open-minded, and to the adults, please help young people with their invention in whatever support they need, because we need a lot of support. Thank you.
Great.
Hi, my name is Juliette Hunt. I'm actually one of the new attendings at Chalk Hospital after just finishing training about 3 years ago. I guess the first question is what inspires me, and certainly it's everybody on the stage here. It's the patients, obviously. It's what motivated me to start this journey into medicine, and the parents that spoke yesterday. It's still those human aspects of empathy and compassion and just an earnest desire to help. I like to think that I'm still a kid at heart, and so I want to think like these guys, and I want to move the field forward in a way, the way these guys think, the way they act, exposed to the technologies that they're exposed to, and figuring out how to really incorporate that both as we treat the patients and then how we function as frontline providers in the hospital. That's what inspires me, and in terms of advice, I don't think I'm in that position. I think these are the guys to give us the advice. So.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Lares, and I am a senior at Rosary Academy. And I would have to say advice for any of the young innovators. When you go to the doctors and something's uncomfortable or you don't like the way the blood pressure cuff fits, maybe think about how you can fix it. If it's uncomfortable, how can I make it not uncomfortable? So any problems you can think of an idea to fix it, and you're innovating. As for what inspires me, at 2 months, I was diagnosed with meningitis, and the doctors told my family that I wouldn't live. So I know what families go through when their children get diagnosed and they think that they're gonna die. And so I just want families to not have to deal with that, especially because you can all tell I didn't die, I'm still here. And so I don't think it's necessary for families to have to stress over that and be anxious when their child may live a long and successful life. So I have plenty of ideas on how to fix that and how to relaxed parents who are stressed with children who have to take a lot of medication. So if you have any questions after, I know we have a time limit, feel free to come up to me and I can tell you.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a senior at Oxford Academy. So when I was really young, I was always really timid and shy, and I probably could have never gotten up on stage like this and spoke to so many people, not to say physicians. And something that really inspired me was seeing, like on television or hearing my parents talk about all these young innovators and how they're creating all these solutions to problems that I never even knew existed. But something that really got me started was the MI3 program with Dr. Chang, and something he told us was that if you have a good idea, just run with it. And that's something I want to pass on because I feel like a lot of young innovators feel like we're young and we can't come up with great ideas or can't maybe come up with a better idea than maybe an adult, but it's not true because as kids, I feel like we're also creative, we have an open mind, and that's something that's really important for innovation. So definitely run with your idea and go as far as you can.
Hi, I'm Emily Seda. I'm from Northern Virginia, and I am a senior at the Naval Academy. What inspires me is I have two older brothers that have congenital heart defects, and from my first brother to my second, someone somewhere found a solution to a unique problem. And so I'm not interested in the medical field. I'm an engineer, I'm a naval architect, so I take that advice that someone somewhere, you can find the solution to a unique problem. Go find that problem and find the solution yourself, because most likely it's something that's passionate to you and it's something that you can, like she said, run with and you can really find the answer to. And then, so my advice is, well, I'll start with lessons learned. So lessons learned from engineering perspective is challenge your constraints, because when you challenge them and when you find a way to lift them, you'll find an inspiring and amazing solution to the problem. And then for advice is be courageous to be creative, because a lot of us are afraid to try something new and to do something, and you're afraid that it's not going to work. So you have to change your way of thinking to believe in yourself that you can find the solution and be courageous to be creative. Because if you change your way of thinking in that the normal way to do something, let's say to design a building, is to design it and find a resource to build it. For me, for one of my projects, is I only had a resource and then I had to make a design around that. So change your way of thinking and be courageous.
Incredibly efficient. So we were asked to do this in 25 minutes. It leaves us a little free time to ask you some questions and maybe let the audience formulate some questions as well. I want to throw one out to you guys, a little bit of a softball. This is something that we talk about all the time in the ICANN network. Of course, nobody in the room would ever say this or believe this, but what do you guys, how would you react to those who are skeptical? Those who are say, you're just a kid, you're only 14. How can you actually meaningfully contribute to this lofty research project that I, the researcher, am doing? Or how can you actually innovate when you're that young? How would you respond? Anybody?
So the answer to that is, number one, we have all the prototypes to show you. And we did that yesterday. We can show you our progress. And as a life example for today is, thank God I have a superhero mom who pulled me off this ramp. And it's not a problem, but I think there are, we could be geniuses and solve problems, but there are too many problems in the world that we will not get to it. But as a life example to show to people that we have done it is to have those prototypes to show you the creative process. And a lot of us have that. And also my company, the goal is REM Power Redefining Normal. What it does is it actually creates product that doesn't exist. And we have the prototypes. We even have the prototype of a ramp that actually folds so you can have it in your showcase. So in situation like this, you could pull it out, it would open up and you just roll into the stage. But I didn't bring it because it's still a prototype. And we have the data and every 3D diagrams that we should. And also, you know, a lot of people look at young people and there is this perspective, it has become a norm that somehow they are not as smart as those who are good with computers, who can show you that and stuff. You know, there are a lot of smart young people. The only thing they don't have is the opportunity. And that's where we need the support of our adult to give us that. When we are depressed, when our prototypes fail, say, you know what, your next one will be better because we are there for you. So support us and believe in us that we can accomplish when we set our mind to it.
Yeah, I really have to agree with, along the lines of what Mohammed and Emily said, is that there's a beauty of limitations. You know, we have, as young minds here, a certain risk. We're willing to take those risks, unlike, and as we grow older, our minds are just not along those lines. So I think really having those constraints and utilizing that to be innovative and to create, I think that's really where maybe adults would underestimate young minds like us. So.
Unfortunately, I think lots of adults are just scared to tap into the mind of a kid. But kids are experts, if you think about it. We've gone through all these amazing opportunities and all these amazing challenges, and we've overcome them with a strong outlook on it. And if you think about it like that, we know just as much as you guys do, so maybe don't be afraid next time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Don't be afraid of what we have to offer. We have yet to go through, we might not have the specific knowledge of how to build the building or whatnot, but we have the creativity to imagine things that your mind might not be close to because you have gone through years and years of college to show you a way of thinking, and we haven't been through that yet. So our minds are very open, and we don't know, like I said, all the constraints, so we think without them. And so I think we gotta take that into account.
And we take lots of risk no matter what's going through us. And just because you think we can't do it doesn't mean that we can try our best and believe that we can do any limits to our mind. And we could always do that as a team together. And if you say that, sometimes it kind of hurts the child, but the child will forget it, and the child would prove you right that we could do whatever we want in our minds as a team together.
I totally agree with what Kaylee is saying, and along with taking risks comes either success or failure, and I feel like for kids, our ability to bounce back from a failure is incredibly resilient. Kids, they fail all the time, they fall, but they always get back up. So I feel like you should just give us a chance, because we will never give up, and we will keep going until we make it.
I would have to go off of what Reese said, saying that we are experts. I mean, after all, you're trying to innovate things for us. We are the children that you would be treating in pediatrics, so we know what we want, and that's what's going to help us.
You know, I think the thing is, what we have to look at is that, you know, as kids, right, we're just as creative. You know, we may not be able to express those ideas and in adult form. But I think what's important is if we take that communication aspect out of it, then, you know, we're kind of on an even playing field, right? You know, we're communicating those same ideas that you guys might have in just a little bit of a different way. And so I think we need to, you know, keep that in consideration.
So let me ask a different question. I think you guys are awesome. I think you're out there. You're leaders in what you're doing. How can we get more kids or more young adults to also become innovators? What can we do in terms of infrastructure or resources? Or how can you inspire your friends to also do the types of things that you're doing?
I was fortunate enough to go to a school that allows us to do a lot of labs and hands-on learning. I think learning can be very boring, right, for kids. You sit there studying in a textbook and you're reading math problems that are 5 + 5, but make it interesting, make it part of our world, make it something that's relatable to us. And for me, what was very fun and I was lucky to enjoy is my high school, gave us problems and gave us the resources to solve the problems on our own and not give us the solution. So to do the labs and to inspire people not to be afraid to find the solution and not give us the answer, not give us a problem that already has an answer. Give us the problems that you're trying to find the solution to, and give us the resources to try and figure them out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. For me, the answer to that question is be another Mr. Lombardi, because without his help and the IPI team, I wouldn't have been here. Be another Mr. Chang who have gave us this opportunity. You could help in the little by little, and there's a saying that says drop by drop makes a river. I never heard of about PD 2040. So, Mr. Lombardi was mentoring me for a long time, put me in touch, and then I was fortunate enough that, Mr. Chang and Miss Lauren gave me the opportunity and the scholarship to actually be able to come all the way here and meet all you wonderful people. And I'm even motivated, and yesterday being around here, actually I have a totally different idea that when I get back home, I'm actually totally redesigning my invention. So that's what I learned in one day.
I think this conference in itself is an example of we can do. I was, really pleasantly surprised to see a lot of, children here, young teenagers who are aspiring to be great. When I was their age, I was just concerned about, clothes, and I never really even thought about broadening my mind to that extent. So I think just exposure and encouragement of not limiting children and future young innovators, I think that's where it really starts, and encouraging them that you have what you have now, and you can utilize that to come up with great ideas. They don't have to be complex. Sometimes the best ideas are simplistic or to solve great problems. And
I think outreaches like STEM and the science fair, I think these are great outreaches, and this is one way to really get people involved in mass quantities, because if you think about it, the science fair is something, for an example, right, it gets a lot of people involved at the same time. So what this does is that it inspires these kids to, work together. What it also does is it shows, hey, you're not the only one with the great idea. Let's look at some of these other ideas in the room and how can we make them better? And other things like STEM, right, at the schools, it's a great program to reach out to these kids that want to use this creative energy but don't know how. And so STEM is one way to really kind of push that in the schools.
I think one thing that hold people back is that they're afraid to fail, and each fail is a stride forward. Not to do something that way after messing up, and that's something you can use to your advantage. You can turn it into something so positive and so positive to push you forward and make new ideas out of it.
So unfortunately, we are out of time. I know there was at least one question over here, but the kids are here for the rest of the morning. Please find them, seek them out, talk to them. They're absolutely amazing children. So I hope you guys can all see our future is incredibly bright. We hear a lot about, in the media and the pop culture about how our teens are falling apart and our future's looking glum. These kids are truly amazing kids, and they should inspire all of us. So just to look back on the last day and a half, some of the bullet points that we heard from Anthony this morning: engage our young people. Wendy said the other day, hack a solution. Let's be super intelligent in the way we collaborate. They're up here. We're out here. It's time for the adults to start thinking, the researchers, the academicians, the folks who are doing private innovation. to figure out ways that we can all work together to bring their voice into the process. Some of them are individual innovators. Some can actually help us with our innovations. So the trick is to figure that out, develop a system, and work together to make it happen. Naomi, anything you wanted to add?
No, you did a great job. I want to just thank all of you for coming on stage, sharing your stories with us, inspiring us. And my request is keep up what you're doing because we so need you. You're our future as well as our present.
So thank you. So they've asked me to tell you guys we have a 5-minute break, and we'll start in 5 minutes with the next group.